Before we get started, let me just go ahead and put this disclaimer out there, okay? Please keep in mind that sneakers are subjective. Whatever you like doesn't mean that I need to as well like it, buy it, rock it, none of that, okay? Please keep that in mind. That also means just because something may be a women's shoe doesn't mean that I'm obligated to buy it either. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about this brand new women's Chicago one that's coming out. I really thought I had an idea of what direction I wanted to go in terms of buying or not buying, and that's changed, and yeah, it's all over the place.
I surround my soul with the positivity. That's why I don't worry about the things that I don't see. Yeah. These days I don't worry about much. I think we should have some more fun. I still dream about the days when we were young.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl TJ back with another video, Talks with TJ, aka TJ Two Swoosh Chains. I hope you're having an amazing day. It's a Saturday when this is releasing, and you know we were supposed to have that whole Fire at 5 release come out, and then they did the shock drop, and I thought my pair was secured, and then shock drop pretty much messed that up. So we'll talk about that on a later day, probably on release day when I'm trying, like all of you, to get the shoe. But let's talk about this women's Chicago one that is releasing, okay? It baffles me, first off, when women's shoes come out, especially Jordans, because there are so many different angles. There's a lot of discussions and conversations that can come from it, just depending on who you are and how you look at it. Now, there's the camp of people that think, well, because something is a women's Jordan, you should buy it, TJ, and that's not how that works. Everything is on a case-by-case, sneaker-by-sneaker basis, okay? Just because it has women's in front of it doesn't mean that I'm obligated to buy it, doesn't mean I feel like I need it. Are there some shoes I wish I purchased during that time? Yeah, but again, we live in a world where I can always go back for something if I really want it that badly. It just comes down to, am I gonna pay the price for it? And sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. But this shoe, so we have seen Jordan Brand take the approach of, hey, we will remix and alter an OG Jordan to give it different materials, a little bit of a different look. And you can go buy that, you know, instead of just going back and buying whatever the latest retro might have been for that shoe, right? So when I'm saying that, let's take this for example, right? This is the women's satin black toe. Now, we know this released last year. I was fortunate enough to be able to get this sneaker, and hands down, it's one of the best Jordan ones I have in my collection. I love it. You guys see me style it a lot in videos or on post on Instagram, and you know, of course, you can follow me at talks.with.tj on there. So you'll see me style this a lot. Now, some argue there wasn't enough satin in this shoe, right? It's more so just on the heel counter and the collar here. So a lot of people didn't feel like it was enough. Some people didn't like the wings logo. I thought this was a beautifully executed rendition of the black toe, and for those who were able to get their hands on it, I mean, bravo to you. I'm extremely happy that I have this shoe. But I don't know if that's the case with this. And this is solely speaking for myself, right? There are some people that are going to go wild over this sneaker, okay? If there were lines they could stand in, and I don't know if that's gonna be something you can do in August when this shoe is set to release, but people would possibly stand in line and camp out. Like, we know men, women, everybody tried to get their hands on this sneaker. For me, so here's the thing. I heard this a long time ago. If you don't absolutely love something the second you see it, maybe don't buy it, because that love is going to dissipate over time by the time you actually get it home, and then you decide to put it on with an outfit, if it even makes it onto your foot when it comes to shoes. And for me, I was like, okay, so here's the issue. In some pictures, this thing looks suspect as hell. In other pictures, it looks amazing. And the fact that there's such a variation is what's throwing me off a little bit with the snakeskin. So I'm not opposed to a snakeskin, faux snakeskin, right? We know it's not real, a faux snakeskin sneaker. I have this beauty right here. This is the women's Black Reptile 12. I was so excited when this released. Now, I was able to get this on discount at Foot Locker, you know, by being an employee at Kids Foot Locker. And let me just tell you this. people still to this day asking me about this sneaker on that video. Is it available to purchase? Now, it did have a premium price point of $190, which I didn't want to pay. So thankfully I was able to get it on discount, but they did a beautiful job with the details on the sneaker, from the gold accents to the actual the multiple forms of, I guess, reptile skin that they decided to use on the actual upper right, because it's supposed to be an actual snake and then an alligator and then possibly a crocodile, I think, on here for this sneaker, and it does the job so well. Not to mention the lining is actually leather too, so they didn't skimp on any of the details when it comes to this shoe. So I think Jordan Brand can do snakeskin on a sneaker well. Do I think they did it well with this Jordan 1? That's what I'm up in the air about, because it will either look like a luxury sneaker like this, or it's going to look like a knockoff, maybe? That's what I'm afraid that it's gonna look like once you finally get it in hand. And I don't know, right? We don't know. We're seeing pictures right now. And that's all you can go off of. But like I said, the pictures vary a little bit. So I haven't made that decision. It wasn't on my list when I revised my list based on everything, right? I for sure, like hands down, there isn't a question if I want the women's off-white Jordan 4. Yes, that linen colorway is knock out the park for me. I want that shoe. Again, keep this in mind. I want this shoe. It doesn't matter if you want the shoe or don't want the shoe. I want the shoe. Therefore, it matters to me if I choose to go after the shoe. If you don't like it, that's fine, because I know I'm gonna get someone in the comment section. They're gonna say, I don't understand how you could want the off-white 4 and not want this women's like snakeskin satin. It looks amazing. Okay, well, just the tongue looks to be satin, not like any other part of the shoe. Like, this isn't satin. It's not, it's just the regular nylon material. This part's satin, that's satin. On the shattered backboard one, yeah, like the actual tongue itself, but it's fine if I don't choose to go for it. And I'm gonna be real with you, the fact that we have news now that Jerry Lorenzo may release that black and gray Fear of God Air Raid, that there may be it for me come summer. And I have the light bone already, you guys know that. I rock it, I love it. That double zoom in there is amazing for comfort, and I love the quality on the shoe as well. Now I feel bad for some of the friends and family who got that sneaker because it was supposed to be exclusive to them, and now it's kind of like that exclusivity is being taken away. I do feel bad about that in a sense, and then in a sense I don't, because if I can get my hands on that sneaker, I want it. The fact that it has that contrast with the black and the gray looks amazing to me. So if you were to give me an option, I'm gonna be just being 100% real with you, of hey, you can, for retail, because it's probably gonna be like what, 160, between 160 and 170, right? So if you have the option, you can get the Nike Fear of God Air Raid with the black and gray, okay? Or you can get the snakeskin satin women's 1 for, you know, it's probably gonna have a price point of 170. They're probably gonna charge the men's price. Pick which one you want. It's probably gonna be Jerry's shoe. And again, that's just based on my personal preference. I love the aesthetic, just the whole look, right? I actually have a pair of sweats on the way. Now, they are not the Fear of God ones, because I didn't want to pay that price when I originally went for the shoe. It was either going to be the shoe or the sweats. It wasn't going to be both. So there is actually a company that has a mock version, like very similar to this version of the sweats that Jerry put out, but instead it just simply, of course, doesn't have that NBA logo on it, and I'm fine with that. I don't need that for me to want the shoe. Once I get those in, I'll give you guys a full review to let you know what I think about them, and you know how comfortable they are, how they fit, true to size, and things like that. Because this is a company I may purchase from again in the future, just depending on how this first time goes. I haven't received the item in yet, so just be aware of that. Shipping is taking quite a long time, and I don't know if that's due to everything going on or if they just happen to have slower shipping times, but I would pick the Fear of God, and that's just my choice. Now, I know this may not be the majority choice when it comes to women. First off, shout out to the women, because 30% of my community here, or those following me, my subscribers, are now women, and I never thought I would get to that point, right? This is definitely a male-dominated arena, and that's still shown in my demographic, right? I have 70% men following me versus 30% women, but you know what, ladies, let's just keep growing. If we can push that envelope to 50 50-50. I think that might actually be groundbreaking, and I would love that. I'm not trying to be the whole face or champion, put the flag on my back for women in this, but I just simply want to have my voice in this, and I appreciate all of you ladies that support me in it. So if you choose to go after this, or what are your first thoughts? Let's just start there. What are your first thoughts when you see this? Because there are a few different pictures floating around. I've seen it in hand, and I will say this, just by looking at it, I really do wish the Wings logo was a different color. Maybe white, maybe red, I'm not really sure. I don't care that it's kind of like embossed in there, but I think the logo itself, the Wings logo, should have been a different color. What are your first thoughts when you see it? Are you going after it? All right, so that's just where we should start. As always, act your age, not your shoe size. As of right now, I don't think I'm gonna go for it. I think instead, if that Fear of God really releases, I think I'm gonna go for that, and that's just how I feel. Peace out.